Welcome back to the channel, guys. We are color packing with a round shader here in these crazy looking eyes on this Rick and Morty. I'm using the Bishop wand packer with a 9 round shader running about 7 volts. And here it's all about small circles. Small circles is what's going to get it done. Overlapping small circles. I find it best to do a little area, wipe it off, see how it's going, see how those needles are taking to that particular portion of the skin. Do a little bit more, wipe. Look for those areas, specifically up by the edges. I know we covered this in a recent video about getting that color all the way up to the edge. Now here I went ahead and just lined pretty much right up next to the black. It's not always going to be perfect. You might still have to go back and touch it up, but it gives you an area to now just focus on making small round circles. And then again, we're wiping that off. We're going back in. We're looking for those spots that are patchy. You can see right there, that little area needed a little bit more. We run that in. We're very quick, deliberate when using the round shaders. It's kind of like a liner. There's a lot being pushed in one saturated area. I do like round shaders for pushing the very light tones in small areas. It just does a better job. It's more efficient, in my opinion, than a mag at times. And if you start to view your needles like you would paintbrushes, you'll start to make what I would call better choices when it comes to choosing what needle to use. This is a small area. I'd like a small paintbrush, not a tiny paintbrush, but something with a little girth to it so I can go through here and put my color in. A similar thing here. Again, we're going around and kind of lining right up to the black, getting into those small areas, then going back and filling. Now you can do a small circle setup, or you can even do a little bit of a left and right, back and forth, but it's important that you try to overlap the work you were just in. And here I just want to show you, I'm getting a good stretch and I have my towel in a perfect spot here so I can do a little bit, reach up, pull that ink straight down and keep going. It's just really convenient in these small areas where you're just going to have to do a little wipe, see how it goes, do a little wipe. And then when you're done, you can get a good wipe on it here and get all that ink out of the way. You do want to avoid going over an area with a round shader more times than you need to. After a couple times, leave it alone. Again, that is more pressure in a concentrated area, almost like a lining. So again, you can cause trauma kind of quickly, but at the same time, you can't be afraid to put those needles in and move them and pack that color. Also, you don't want to be right over top. You don't want your machine angle at a 90-degree angle when packing color or when lining or when doing most things in tattooing. Just like with any other needle, we want a bit of machine angle. It helps the needles enter the skin a bit smoother, and they have a much better saturation rate, in my opinion, when you have a little bit of angle on there. It doesn't have to be extreme. It just depends on what you're using and how you're using it. And don't be afraid of that round shader hitting the black line. It's not going to cause any serious issues with that black line taking on that particular color. If that line was packed in properly, you don't really need to worry about it. So take it right up to the line, and if you touch that black, it's all right. Keep going. So that's packing color in a small area. Let's try a little bit more of an open area here. And this is about as big of an area I would really go with when packing with a round shader personally. For me, it was bigger than this. The area was larger. I would use a mag of the particular size I needed, just like we talk about with paintbrushes. Think of it like a paintbrush. Nonetheless, here, when you're filling a larger area, you need to be slow, consistent, small circles. Now, you can do a slightly longer circle, which tends to obviously work better when you're packing a larger area. But always ensure you have an overlap. So you don't want to start right below it. You want it to overlap the other one a bit. It can always be a little bit tempting to want to speed up, get this area filled. It's kind of a tedious thing, but you always got to tell yourself, slow down, take your time. If you're getting a little bit of blood coming through, there's nothing wrong with that. You're in the right area. You're doing the right thing. Now here I'm doing a second pass on some of these areas just to really make sure they're saturated. I wouldn't really go beyond that when it comes to packing the color. A couple times over at a nice smooth pace, That's it. If you didn't get the result you wanted, walk away from it, go work in another area. Some colors take a little while to really cool off, and let the redding behind it cool off, and you might actually start to see that color there. So over time, it becomes a bit of a trust game, knowing your technique and that color and how it acts in the skin. So a good stretch and a steady hand with good consistent speed is going to be your best friend. Get out there and try to use these guys. Have fun. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, ring the bell to get notifications when we post, and until next time, my friends, peace.